Hey guys, I'm back. I just wanted to come through and go ahead and knock out Cancer and Leo videos. So, first things first, let me find my notes. Just because I like to keep everything on track and keep these videos around the same size. Where the hell did I put it? Okay, so Cancer, cardinal sign, ruled by the moon, right? And what we're talking about is Cancer Sun. I said it at the beginning of the other video, so I'll say it at the beginning of this one. If you haven't seen the rest of the Sun series, go ahead and watch it from Aries. I kind of described to you what the Sun means a little bit more in depth. But just as a rule of measure, it's basically your will, your drive, your personality, how you see yourself, your you know, where you can be a little naive in life, because the sun is the biggest entity, I guess you could say, in our charts. But it's also because of that, and because it's so bright and so shiny, we also sometimes don't see a lot of our flaws that come along with that. So it's kind of like the vehicle we're driving in, you know, intergalactically, or however you want to say it. Cardinal sign is basically a sign that loves to initiate. It loves to start. It's basically, when you see the wheel, there's 12, it's like a pie chart, right? And there's 12 sections. The cardinal signs are the first sign, the first of every fourth part of the wheel. So it transitions you into the next phase, I guess you could say, of existence, or of, you know, human behavior or whatever. So cardinal Cancer is a cardinal sign because it's a fourth sign, and it's also it rules the fourth house dealing with basically domestic matters, you know, home life, your inner mind. I like to think of it that way, kind of, sort of like the things you learned throughout childhood that kind of set the precedence for what you believe life to be, and how you see that life should be lived, and just your basic individual, like, perception of life on earth, I guess you could say. That's the way I think of the fourth house. And then when you think about the fact that it's actually ruled by the moon, that gives it that maternal, homey, you know, nurturer type of vibe. Like, you know, a lot of times the moon represents the mother, and just, I guess, the in my mind, the divine feminine aspect of things, in by way of, like, birthing, nurturing, and actually raising, mothering, like bringing up a child, bringing up a human being into existence in the world, and blah, they speak. So Cancer people tend to be, that's why people say Cancers are emotional, because they're ruled by the moon. The moon waxes and wanes continuously. Every 2 days it's changing signs. So the moon is never in a constant place. It's always changing. And you know, they say our bodies are like 70% water. Oh, the moon's phases and everything have an effect on us, and that's why people become moody. That's where the whole premise of, like, werewolves and stuff like that come from, because they're basically saying that as the tides come in, and, you know, whatever, depending on how close the moon is and what the magnetic pull is like, it can shift our feelings and our emotions. So when you're a Cancer person, sometimes life can feel like, especially Cancer moons, we're talking about suns right now, life can feel like a process of being pushed and pulled emotionally. These people are in touch with themselves emotionally. They can be a little intense depending on some of their other placements, you know, and that's why sometimes people say Cancers are crybabies, or Cancers can be this, but also Cancers can be really, really, like, cool and smooth, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy, because the other planets really do depend on how a person shows up on the outside. But for the most part, Cancers just, it's like, somebody on here used an analogy that, you know, if all the water signs had to be represented by, like, the ocean, right? And the Cancer is the crab, right? So what do crabs do? They live, like, in the sand, you know what I'm saying? And they go out into the ocean when they feel like it, and they can come back and get back in the sand when they don't. And if the ocean is the emotion, then that's kind of like spot on. One of my best friends is a Cancer, and he's that way. Like, he can go out into the tides when he wants and be emotional, and when he's looking for guidance, he goes to the water, he goes to his emotions, he goes to his inner self to contemplate on things, and he uses his gut instincts, as opposed to, like, he is a factual type of person, because I feel like in this life you have to be somewhat left-brained. But at the end of the day, I hear him saying, I just had a feeling, or I felt like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're just, they are very in touch with their inner barometer that is their emotional guidance system. And so when they don't feel like dealing with emotions, they can be very closed. That's another thing people under analyze, I guess you could say, in my experience, in the astrological world. Like, people don't too much talk about how closed off cancers can be. Like, if they're everybody's always talking about, oh, they're so needy, they're so this, they're that. Yeah, but at the same time, they're not needy. Doesn't always mean clingy. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are needy and they know what they need, but a good, like, I always say, like, an evolved cancer knows how to need themselves. They know how to give to themselves what it is that they need, so that they don't have to feel like their emotions are at the mercy of another person. And to me, that's the best way for a cancer to be, until they find someone who's willing to, be their home base. Because that's, like, when I hear cancer, that's really what I think. Even fourth house, home life, home base. It's about being able to retract back into that shell that is their own sense of inner being, and to go back in there and lick their wounds. Crab meat is fucking supple as shit. Crab meat is succulent and it's soft and it's plush, but their shells are so hard. And I think that that's why, and I'll say honestly, more so probably the women than the men. They tend to be a little bit snappy. They a good one knows how to protect themselves. They know how to use their defenses when needed, because they understand how, I don't want to say unstable, because that just sounds derogatory, or like I'm trying to be funny or throw shade or something like that. But they just understand how unpredictable, their emotions can be sometimes. And so, yeah, I really admire Cancer for that reason. Now, like I said, Cancer moon can be a lot to deal with, honey, because Cancer's already ruled by the moon. So when you have a Cancer moon, they're just extra sensitive. Like, let me stop. I'll get onto the moon signs eventually once I'm done with the sun series. I think I'll go to moon. In my notes, I said, sun here causes an emotionally in touch person. They like to retreat and come out when they feel like it. Again, even if they, they do retreat to get away from the emotional current of a situation, they still rely on their emotions to tell them when the shit is done and when they can come out. Like, they have to feel like it. They can know logically, like, oh yeah, we're good. You can squash some whole shit with Cancer, but if they don't feel it in their inner being, like, they're still not gonna fuck with you. Represents the childhood home relationship with the mother is very important. They value where they come from. That is another thing. I noticed that with Cancer sons, they tend to be very family oriented. And I don't know why Cancer men get such a bad rap, because they are some of the best, like, providers, I guess you could say, because the number one, complaint that most women have about men is that they're not in touch with their feminine side, or they're not in touch with their emotions, or they're just too logical, too left brain, too, like, meticulous with facts and shit like that. Like, oh, he forgot my birthday, oh, he forgot our anniversary. Cancer man will not do that. The only way Cancer man might do that is if some of his other planets are, like, more I would say, like, earth based, or even like fire based or something like that. But or if he's working too much. But even then, he's working to provide for his family. So I wouldn't even be mad if my man was, you know what I'm saying, like, working hard every single day. And, occasionally he might slip up and forget something, but then he'll be very forgiving, or not forgiving, but very apologetic about it, and want to make it up to you, and want to, like, they're just so... they're in touch with their feminine side. I can't figure out another way to say it. And I don't understand why we as the people always think that when you say something like that, that means that a person is less of a man or less masculine. Because they are very masculine. They understand kind of like the duality that is dominant and submissive, male, female, that the whole relationship aspect, whether you're what I'm saying, in a heterosexual relationship or a homosexual relationship, or you're bisexual or whatever, they just understand how to fill in the masculine end through being in touch with the feminine, if that makes sense. Most Cancer men are very, very close to their mothers. They understand their moms. They might not necessarily even agree with their moms all the time, but you better not disagree with her. because at the end of the day, he respects her. He respects his mother. He respects that he came from her. He respects how she raised him. Usually Cancer men, their mothers raise them to be family oriented signs. You look out for your siblings. You look out for, you know what I'm saying? Me, when I get old, shit, like, you look out for your aunts and uncles and your cousins and everybody. Like, don't ever forget the home base. Cancer women, now, I'll be honest, I know a few Cancer women who were a little bit more removed from their home, Cancer Sun women who are a little more removed from their home, but they still carry a sense of home with them. Like, they might rep their hometown, you know what I'm saying? Be that type of girl. Or they just make really good mothers because they're so intuitive and in touch with themselves and in touch with their children, because of that. Like, they just have a certain sense of what it means to be the stable force for another life being. Now, that could be, like I said, that could be their kids, that could be their mate, their partner, but Cancer people like to create. Okay, because when they're single, they create the shell around themselves. But once they get into a relationship with someone, it's like they create a shell around everyone. And, depending on the person and how, their own personal values and everything, that can be a little smothering. It can be a little bit much for like a fire sign or an air sign, somebody that's just really trying to get out here and shoot shit, you know what I'm saying, and see what life is about. But if what you're looking for is nurturing and care and love and just like arms wrapped around you type of feeling, Cancer people just innately know how to give that. Yeah, like I said, the men can be now the downside to the men is that they like a not so evolved Cancer male will be a little bit more vulnerable to certain things and a little bit more moody. So say for instance, if he came up and sometimes that attachment to the mother can be detrimental. Like, say, for instance, if he came up in a situation where, his mom didn't set the best example, that doesn't deter him from still being a mama's baby. He's still going to live by the doctrine that his mother set up. So it can produce a fucked up individual if he wasn't raised right, or if he didn't have the right, like, even some people aren't raised right, but they see, a lot of us were raised by the Cosby Show, honey. You see other examples in the world and everything like that. So some of them can turn out okay. But in the rare instance that, that person might have been sheltered, as a child, or, those types of parents that say, don't cry, don't let your emotions out. For Cancer, that could be really fucked up because they have a lot going on all the time, it seems like. So if they have those types of examples being set for them in early childhood, they can come up and be a little damaged, and they have some they'll have some shit that they need to definitely unpack and work through with like a counselor or some sort of program. It could be like anger management. They can tend to be, who is here, they can tend to be like look to sex in fucked up ways because of shit that the mother might have influenced. They just really have a deep connection to the mother. So when you're dealing with a Cancer male especially, you need to look to that relationship to kind of see exactly what and who you're dealing with. When it comes to the women, like I said, they tend to be more masculine than the men, but in a feminine way still. It's so crazy. I don't know how to explain it to you guys almost. Like, they can be, like, the men tend to be a little bit more agreeable. Even though they are a cardinal sign, they still will take the submissive role in things sometimes, just to make things smooth and happy. That's like their way of caring for someone. But it's almost like they take an aggressive role when it comes to caring for another person. So that's the cardinal nature, and they do need that. Like, if you're not about that, they not fucking with you. They can't compute, like like how detached maybe two air signs could be in a relationship. Cancer would come in and be like, what the hell are y'all doing? Like, where's the basis to this? Like, what's going on? But the women can be very, I guess you could say, I have here feisty. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just have a certain protectiveness about them. And I think it might come from that, the ruling basis of Cancer being a feminine entity, the moon. But it's more like that mothering entity, like mama bear. Yes, mama bear. Like, you know, don't fuck with my cubs. Like, I'm still gonna make sure everybody in the house eats and everything like that. Da, da, da. Like, you know, no shade, no tea. It's gonna go down. You know, you're gonna be taken care of. But like, say if somebody comes fucking with one of her kids, oh, that might be the mama that's out on the street getting ready to scrap with you. Like with the other kids' mama, like, you better get your kids because I don't play about mine, honey. Like, that type of energy. And they just tend to be more expressive and exerted, I noticed, like, than the Cancer men. Because, like, in a social environment, Cancer men would be the type to just, like, chill. You know what I'm saying? He, depending on his other placements and stuff like that, he may be, like, a networker, may not be. He could be the type of person that doesn't like to go out at all. You know, sometimes those people just don't really be about that life. Like, they'll show up, but they're not really having fun. Or they'll show up because they're expecting to see someone there, you know, and they want to make a good impression or something like that. But at the end of the day, like, the Cancer woman is gonna come in and like turn up one time for the one time and be like betting everybody, oh, I bet you I can drink you under the table, I bet you I can take more shots than you, and you know, just trying to shoot the shit and have a little bit of fun and be a little bit more feisty and aggressive with their personality. They can tend to be more expressive in their outer appearance too. I noticed like a lot of Cancer women who are tatted the fuck up, or like just pierced up, or they do crazy hairstyles, or they're really good with makeup, so they try different, like way different type shit in a way that's like pioneering almost. Like they just have this rock star energy to them, but at the same time deep down they still have that mothering aura about them. Like they don't get it fucked up. Like I'm still that bitch. Like I will be the chick to go out to a heavy metal concert and like have hella piercings and stuff like that, be smoking weed with everybody, but then we going home, I'm cooking you a 4-course meal. Like that, I just don't, I'm still like studying everybody, you know, but I'm just telling you what I've seen with my own 2 eyes. And the men tend to be like very concerned with being able to protect. Like I know a lot of Cancer men who are like bodybuilders, no, but like bodybuilders are very concerned with their health. They go into law enforcement a lot of times. What's some other stuff? They're very pioneering, and at the end of the day their main goal is to be able to protect and take care of their family. So as long as they can do that, that's when they go out and try to like have fun and discover themselves and like hang out with their friends and shit like that. But for the most part, yeah, they just be there. They're really supportive people, you know. You just need to check that background, make sure everything is everything with the upbringing, because that'll tell you a lot about the motherfucker. So now that I'm done with Cancer men, I'm gonna go ahead and move over to Leo, so be looking out for that video too. So if you guys have any comments, leave them down below. If you are a Cancer, or if you know somebody that is a Cancer and you feel like I got something wrong or I got something right, let me know. You know, we're all here learning with each other, you know what I'm saying? I'm just kind of sharing my take and what I think and things that I've been through. I don't really necessarily always go off of textbook definitions of what people should be, because just 10 years into studying astrology, I just feel like it's not always true. It's more of a synthesis type of thing. You have to really see the whole of someone's chart to be able to say, oh, okay, well, this is why you do this is why you do that. So when you're really reading just aspect by aspect, it can go either way, you know what I'm saying? But it's just fun to discuss and see what other people think about it. And it's always good to click on a video that's like describing you, you know, and be like, that's me or that's not me. So leave me whatever comments you have down below. Make sure that you guys do subscribe and like the video, because I'm trying to upload a lot more frequently for you guys. I want to make this a really regular thing. If you want, I don't know if I've talked about it on this channel yet, but I do music. So if you want to check out my music, you can go to nellecole.com. That's down in the description box. I have a hyperlink down there. If you'd like to support me on Patreon so that I can continue to do these videos more regularly, you can do that. And of course, if you want a reading, I do personal readings. I do tarot and astrology readings. You can go ahead and email me at nelleforhighvibe@gmail.com. That's down below too. But just make sure you like this video and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one.